Good morning. Welcome to the Stylo News Intel update cyber domain for the 31st of July, 2026. I'll be guiding you through a factual, unvarnished briefing of the past 2 weeks in the global cyber theater. We're delivering this early morning update to cue you into the broader strategic situation, making sure you stay completely informed on the critical flashpoints unfolding right now across international networks.
Before we dive in, we want to note that today's briefing is brought to you by ProWave AI. They're the developers behind the AI-powered Stylo Intel Ops platform, which is a system used for rigorous open-source intelligence gathering, and the commercial Stylo News app, giving web and mobile users global updates on demand. Here is our roadmap for today's briefing. We'll start with the global cyber domain, move into state-sponsored cyber aggression, then rogue networks and criminals. After that, we'll look at primary targets and impacts, dive into social media sentiment analysis, and finally wrap up with our strategic outlook and action. Section 1. The Global Cyber Domain, Assessing the Strategic Theater. Over the last 2 weeks, the global digital landscape has faced some intense, concurrent pressures from both state and non-state entities. Our intelligence indicates a real heightening of activity, bridging European capitals, Washington, D.C., and adversarial states. What we're seeing here are specific operational nodes, these transatlantic cyber flashpoints that really define the current period. It shows us exactly where digital espionage and disruption are intersecting with international geopolitics today. Section 2. State-sponsored cyber aggression, operations by major nation-states. So how exactly do the major state actors differ in how they operate? Well, intelligence assesses with high confidence that Russia is currently engaged in immediate integrated hybrid warfare. They're actively targeting European energy infrastructure, manufacturing, and banking, often hijacking connected cameras for reconnaissance and persistent access. On the flip side, Chinese operations point toward long-term strategic espionage. They prioritize stealth access to technology and government infrastructure rather than immediate disruption. Analyzing these distinct movements with absolute neutrality is absolutely crucial to understanding the strategic realities currently at play. Now, beyond those primary powers, other persistent threat vectors are highly active right now. Assessments indicate that Iranian state-linked actors are actively targeting U.S. and allied critical infrastructure. Specifically, they're going after programmable logic controllers, or PLCs, inside water and energy facilities, which demonstrates a clear disruptive intent. In a totally separate theater, North Korea maintains a hostile cyber posture focused largely on revenue generation. They're using covert IT worker schemes to infiltrate corporate networks and evade international sanctions. Moving on to Section 3. Rogue networks and criminals, the tactical layer. Beyond state actors, the criminal attack surface is expanding rapidly. Millions of internet-facing sites have just been exposed due to newly weaponized WordPress flaws. At the exact same time, the healthcare supply chain is facing a massive compromise following the breach of CranaWare. That's a tech firm relied upon by thousands of U.S. hospitals and pharmacies. What you really need to take away from this is how fast digital vulnerabilities turn into severe downstream risks for local businesses and critical public services. They create vulnerabilities that are easily leveraged for extortion. So, who's actually operating in this chaotic environment? Intelligence points to specific groups like No-Name 05716 and Z-Pentest, who are operating as pro-Russian hacktivists. They're conducting disruptive DDoS attacks against European state targets like Spain and Romania. We're also tracking organized criminal syndicates like Killin and The Gentleman. Additionally, the Russia-linked group UAC0145 is continuing its relentless phishing campaigns targeting Ukrainian military users. And finally, vast Asia-Pacific cyberscam compounds present a persistent cross-border fraud challenge that is actively testing the very limits of international law enforcement. Section 4. Primary targets and impacts. The ripple effect. The consequences of these attacks are almost always felt locally before they escalate. Take the recent incident out in San Francisco involving the breach of Hugging Face, which is a major artificial intelligence research environment. This localized impact immediately prompted urgent security reviews and patching efforts across the wider AI community. It's really heightened awareness about the severe risks of autonomous AI models operating without sufficient structural safeguards. We're observing these impacts escalating systematically. What begins as a local disruption, like municipal utility alerts or a corporate AI breach, naturally triggers national defense shifts. For instance, you see the U.S. government heightening its focus on cyber counterintelligence, or national debates on AI safety that prompt tech leaders to formally address open-source AI cybersecurity. Ultimately, this ripple effect culminates on the global stage. It leads to calls from international bodies like NATO to enhance multinational cooperation, share intelligence, and build joint cyber defense initiatives to counter modern hybrid warfare. Section 5. Social Media Sentiment Analysis. The Public Square. To better understand the professional reaction to all these events, we analyze open-source sentiment. Coverage from industry sources like CSO Online maintains a neutral to positive tone. They're focusing constructively on AI governance and leadership challenges, rather than just generating fear. Similarly, Security Magazine reflects a neutral and alert posture, straightforwardly sharing official mitigation advisories from agencies like CISA and the FBI. The data clearly shows a professional, non-alarmist cybersecurity community that is steadily focused on resilience and practical solutions. And finally, Section 6, Strategic Outlook and Action, the Horizon. Looking ahead to late 2026, decision-makers should anticipate several structural developments. We expect to see expanded funding and staffing for U.S. government cybersecurity agencies like CISA to really enhance national defense capabilities. Alongside that, anticipate the rollout of new AI-driven defense tools designed specifically for rapid vulnerability detection. Finally, late 2026 will likely bring a series of global cyber governance summits focused squarely on export controls, AI safety regulations, and multinational defense cooperation. For our immediate outlook, here is a factual watch list of imminent threats you need to monitor. First, keep an eye on ongoing vulnerabilities within operational technology and industrial control systems. These remain a primary target for disruptive state actors. Also, the active exploitation of Zimbra 0 days poses a persistent threat to enterprise and government communications. And looking a bit further ahead, major event digital ecosystems, like the infrastructure supporting the upcoming 2026 World Cup, remain highly attractive targets for disruption, fraud, and reputational attacks. They are going to require rigorous safeguarding. That concludes this morning's intelligence summary. Thank you for your time and attention today. To delve deeper into these assessments, we highly recommend you review the full source material this explainer is based on through the link provided. And for continuous information, be sure to subscribe and get AI-powered news on demand at stylonews.com. But as nations continue to deploy increasingly autonomous cyber weapons, we want to leave you with this thought. In an escalating digital arms race, who is really in control of the horizon? Thank you for joining us, and stay secure.